Hello guys, welcome to EFA Playbook episode 10. We are in the double digits. We're getting a little bit better every single time. Before we get into the big YouTube announcement for you guys to enjoy week one, I'm Matt Bressington. How are you, Chris?
I'm doing okay. It's another interesting week in European American football. Obviously, the big YouTube announcement coming our way, so we know where the EFA is going to be all season long. And I'm looking forward to number one, watching it, but right now, talking about it as well.
Absolutely. I'm really excited about this too. I'm a marketing guy, you know me, doing my master's in marketing. Availability is the big thing. People are going to be finding this, stumbling across this on YouTube. I wish you could see my YouTube hours, Chris. Disgusting. I reckon about 10 hours there. I listen to YouTube on
Vile.
the way to work. I listen to the YouTube on the way back from work. I watch YouTube with my wife when we're at home. Every single second I'm not on this show, I'm watching YouTube or I'm working. So for me, I think a lot of people are going to find this league. They're going to fall in love with the players and the stories and with Chris's takes. We're going to have a whole new audience introduced to European American football. That being said, let's get into the show. Our first signing of the little trio we've got going on from the Munich Ravens, Isaac Umbra. And he said Jeffrey Umbra. That's a complete different guy. Completely different guy. He just went to the NFL from Europe, French D tackle. I'm going on my John Gruden kind of ways, but Isaac Umbra, a fantastic cornerback, German for the Munich Ravens, going to be very effective in this team. Still a young guy, has a very athletic frame, kind of found his way into a starting role through injuries last season, but with Malik Jackson as defensive back coach, developed really nicely across from Nitsander. We have that back now. Tebbs, my question is more of an overarching one. Munich have got more guys that like maybe they're superstars. Now they're injecting their more rising stars into this as well. What do you think about this signing? And overall, what do you think about Munich's depth at the moment?
I love it. It's as simple as that. In that position, Munich are pretty stacked. I feel like, it's going to be a very hard task when it comes to going through the air against the Munich Ravens. It does obviously the thing with the Munich Ravens is there's just so much talent, and I think that when you have a player that's developing, it's a perfect place to be because you can, number one, see how things are done by some of the big name imports. See if you can change your game up to be similar to theirs. So I think it's a great acquisition for the Munich Ravens is Umbra, and hopefully we get to see him on the field. It's going to be interesting to see how much time he gets. I'm thinking it'll be, a fair bit here. I think it'll be a fair bit, but I think it adds another layer to an already very, very dangerous Munich Ravens defense.
Yeah, I'm looking at his numbers now. He came in as a bit of a later starter, as I said, but still managed to put up 35 tackles, got a pick and 4 pass deflections. He's a bigger, longer corner. It's a very popular archetype in Europe. We've seen it a ton with guys that have been all-stars and defensive players of the year and imports all over that same archetype. Longer, bigger, maybe not as fast as you would want someone like maybe in the NFL they prioritize speed a little bit more on the outsides. In Europe they prioritize length and size a little bit more. And I think that speaks to maybe more the European style of play. But I'm really excited to see what he can do. I think the secondary is going to be extremely impressive. Next signing, Tobias Rodlauer. Now, this guy, Tebbs. If you like violent offensive line, just go back and watch his 2022 tapes on
You know,
YouTube. I'll probably
you
show it
know, I
up
love
on
it. You don't even have to say. I'm a big fan of violence on the line, in the trenches. That's where I like it.
I'll probably put up some of his IPP tape because he's exceptionally he plays nasty, which is what I love from an offensive tackle. He has great finish. He has and really he gets low. Like the first play, I'll show it. He's like attacking the hip of the defensive end with like his backside, and he has like he's pushing up, and he does like he just swings the defensive end around. He's only 26 years old. He's 6'4", just a shade off 200 pounds, 300 pounds. Sorry, was an All-Star in 2022 and an IPP participant. This guy signed into the Raiders Tirol is exactly what you want. He's a homegrown player. He's an exceptional athlete. He's technical offensive lineman, but plays with that like nastiness and chip that you want from an offensive tackle. He's got a full package. I think he's one of the best and most underappreciated. I know I use that way too much. I gotta find a new
New
synonym
word.
for that one. But he is an exceptional player. And I'm really excited to see him with the Raiders Tirol again this year.
Well, I mean, my take is obviously Krajewski is sort of the big question mark in the quarterback room for the EFA. Garber's obviously having a bit more high level experience. Not that Krajewski doesn't have high level experience, but you want to be protecting him. We know at Wagner in his last stint in football, he was sacked 20 times on the season. I think bringing in Tobias Rodlauer is a very, very good piece to make sure that those sack numbers are not replicated at Tirol.
Yeah, and he's a really good run player too. Like the Moeller side of it really comes out in the run game. Of course, it's the Raiders. We know they're gonna run the ball. It's the Raiders. They've got three running backs you would consider probably starter level. Definitely two, maybe half with Tonko, because I'm still not sure if he can stay healthy. But Hasavanta and Bonatti, two of the very best in Europe. They're exceptional. So to have an offensive lineman leading the way on the outside as good as Rodlauer for those two guys, I think we're going to see them replicating their success this year. The last signing of the little mini signing center we've got, we're very trench focused on this one. We've got Ngimbi, the Spanish center, returning to Paris. He was at Paris before. Now he's back with Paris for the 2026 EFA season. He was, I'm gonna be a bit critical, not great with Paris his first stint. He was still young. He's only 23 now, and that was what, 2 seasons ago? So he was about 21 then. He's still developing. He's 6'1.5", which is fine size for a center. He's nearly 310 pounds, so big size. Former Dragon, former Bravo, former Musketeer, of course, who's built up a little bit more experience. Much more technical than centers. Like this center is a difficult position for us to produce in Europe because there is just so much technical ability required to be an elite center. I think he is on the path to become that. I don't think he was very good with Paris in the first season. I'm going to be completely honest. And then he got better and he got better and he's made strides and he's improved quite a lot now that I consider him. Now that Raheem Christensen isn't here, he might have taken the mantle as the best center that we have in the league, which is an incredible crown to hold as a player. But this, for me, I said I wanted more from the offensive line last week on this playbook. And I did sign him then, but now I'm getting back into the tape and remembering how good Ngimbi is, particularly last season with the Bravos, with, I believe, one of the best offensive lines in the league. I'm excited to see what he can do in his second run with the Parisians.
I mean, I love it when you've got a player that is, it's pure upside here. It's pure upside for Ngimbi. I mean, 23 years old, already having experience in multiple teams at the pro level in Europe. I love this as a pickup. We did discuss the Paris Musketeers O-line and the questions in regards to having an all French all O-line. Obviously, we don't have to deal with that now. I think it's a great piece, and for me, with him coming in at the centre position, that gives me a lot more faith in the O-line overall. With what Coach Book is attempting to do with the O-line for the Paris Musketeers. Don't get me wrong, I was a bit less critical than you were in regards to it. But with this one, again, I just love to see it, and I want to see. I wish the season would start now, so I can have a better idea of what exactly this O line is able to put together, put on tape, and put onto the field.
Well, luckily for us, Tebbs, the first game is, of course, the Paris Musketeers, and it will be on YouTube, as we briefly alluded to a little bit earlier. If you haven't read the announcement, go and read all the full details on the EFA socials. It's very exciting news, big time. But also, just a small hint thing, that a small nugget of information, if you will. He was, of course, the center for Paris Musketeers a couple of years ago. When Zach Edwards is there, the center quarterback connection is already going to be built up. And I know a lot of people are going to think, well, it's a center quarterback connection. I don't really mean anything. That doesn't really mean much. It means a lot. It means a lot.
Yeah.
Every center snaps the ball a little bit different. The speed, the spiral, when playing under center. I know Zach Edwards isn't really a player you think of when you think of under center passing, but that is going to be a factor. And I'm excited for Ngimbi, and I think the Paris Musketeers just took a step up on their offensive line.
So my first player that I think is poised for a breakout season in the inaugural season of the EFA is Jai Jackson. From the UK, he is at the Raiders Tirol right now, and he is playing edge. When you look at the history of Jai Jackson, he has been in, let's be honest, some pretty tumultuous situations. He was at the Barcelona Dragons, not ideal. He was at the Cologne Centurions, not ideal. I think if you really firm it and you look at the record that Jai Jackson holds in European pro football, I think it's going to be pretty damning. But I think him going to the Raiders Tirol this season is hopefully going to be the exact spot where he needs to be to finally have a season where he can prove himself. He's fast, he's strong, and I think the Raiders Tirol is the right place to be for him. I personally can't wait to see what he does in this sort of condensed talent pool that we've got here in the EFA. Now is the time for Jai Jackson to prove that he is one of Europe's elite players. I've been a fan of him from his time playing in the other pro teams he has played for, and he's going to be one that I'm going to keep an eye out for when I watch Tirol games.
Also, another thing that I didn't know so much about when I looked into his combine numbers from the IPP, because he was a two-time IPP guy, not just a two-time IPP guy, which is extremely rare. I think only a couple guys have done that. 37-inch arms, which is well above the average. I think the average is like 34, 35. So his long arm, like if he really gets that down, his long arm and his punch separation, offensive linemen just aren't going to be able to get to him because he's 6'3". So if he gets under the pads, it's not like Steven Nilsson who's 6'8". And with that length, it's going to be really difficult to get around him. He's a good athlete, 35.5-inch vertical as well as pro day. Solid size. Like I have my comp. I've done comps for these just because I'm a sicko that likes getting into old film. Dusan Novanovic is one of my favorite DNs ever, which should be high praise because his explosiveness off the line. He's a bobsledder, former bobsledder from Serbia.
That's cool.
And you can really, it is. And you can really tell that explosiveness off the line. Jai has some of those traits as well. So I like this pick. It's just that, I like Jai as well, but is he the scarlet letter? You know what I mean? Like with the...
I mean, I didn't want to put that across. I didn't want to try and put that across, but like, I put it like this. I imagine the only people that are thinking that are me and you, and we've now put it out there to the world. But I mean, the situations have not been great, and yet he has persevered through them and continued to play at a reasonably high level. So I think now coming to Tirol in this again, this condensed talent pool, I am absolutely going to be paying attention. Obviously, going to watch all the games. Hopefully, free on YouTube. Of course, going to get that in. But yeah, he's gonna be one of the key players that I'm looking out for. Really and truly, big fan of Jai Jackson.
For the interesting point when it comes to EFA squad building, obviously only 6 imports, not from Austria, allowed for the Raiders in terms of Europeans. His position for me is one that's less valuable. And I may sound people may go, what do you mean a pass rush is less valuable? This isn't the NFL. You don't get to have a limited amount of pass rushes. If you're spending an E on a position, it's a position of need. And I feel like Jai is a bit of a luxury player. Like if you have, I'm trying to think, the Nordic Storm, no, maybe not the Nordic Storm because their defensive line isn't the best. I'm trying to admit, like the Stuttgart Surge last year, right? Oh my goodness, our defensive line was incredible. If you like Robbie Lackman, Chris Mulumba, and a bunch of other just Bernard Gruber, just some unbelievable players. If you plug Jai Jackson into that team, it just sends it up another level. But if you've got not a great defensive line, as the Raiders currently don't have that many players signed to their defensive line, is it the best use of an E spot? Is my only concern because they're so valuable. If you have 6 holes in their team, you get these imports in, suddenly you're a championship contender. And I think defensive end as opposed to rush could be more of a need for the Raiders. Maybe they've got some signings right around the corner. You never know. but that for me is something maybe to keep an eye on for the future.
You're a non-believer, and that's
Is it?
fine.
Am
That's
I a
it.
hater?
That's it. That's it.
I've had
There's
so many people call me haters for like evaluations. Unbelievable.
Well, you're about to have another one. You're a
I'm about to have
hater.
another one.
You're a hater. You're about to have another one. It's me.
Like,
I'm calling you it
the
now.
thing is,
I,
it's
yeah,
difficult to evaluate, and this is me just completely going off the rails. It's difficult to evaluate players that you know, but a good scout, I'm not sure if I've told you that before, is able to remove themselves from the friendship they have with players off the field. I'm friends with most guys that I talk about off the field, but like, I'm just going to swear, I'm not a very good player. So if someone was giving me evaluation, and someone watched some of my old tables, like, man, you were pretty awful. Like, yeah, fair. Like, I don't need to be hurt by an evaluation, you know? It's just, I'm seeing what's put out on tape. So if you're hurt by an eval, like some players have been in the past and have directed some messages towards me that may be a little bit unsavory, that's more
unsavory.
of a you problem, to be honest. But on to the next gem.
My next breakout star is on the Prague Lions. It is wide receiver Radim Kalous. Last year, did have an injury that only allowed him to play 6 games and only managed to record 95 receiving yards. However, in 2024, he was a big star, and I think that at the Prague Lions, I'm really hoping that this offense is absolutely diabolical. And I mean that in a good way. I mean good diabolical. I mean sensational. And I mean, considering that you've got Willie P, who is going to be obviously the main target, people are going to be guarding Willie P with their life. Let's be real, with their life. And I'm sure that somehow he's going to be able to get free, which I think is going to free up Radim Kalous to have an absolutely sensational year stats wise. Coming off an injury, I really want to see Kalous do big things, find that 2024 form again, and then some. I mean, with Zazelka and Henderson, I do think that this Prague Lions offense is potentially being underrated by myself and Matt, which is why I have gone for Radim Kalous as one of my breakout picks for the 2026 EFA season. I know you're about to say, "Hey, I'm Matt Bressington. I'm Mr. Prague. I'm not underrating them." Or I'm just maybe misremembering how much we talk about the Prague Lions offense.
Like 4 days ago, when I had Matthias
Yeah.
Bealey as one of my.
Okay, let me rephrase that. I am. I'm just
mm,
from the other thing.
mm.
The thing
All
is,
coming
look,
back now, isn't it?
so I've got to now. I've got to make Matt Bressington save face, or they'll make him return his Prague Lions hat. That's what this is about. It's all about the hat. But I mean, for me, like this with the offenses in the EFA, it's when you consider that if you're doing rankings of the EFA teams, you're likely to put Prague at 5th or 6th. Let's be completely honest. But you look at this offense and you realize just how thin those margins are between all of the teams. From number 1 down to number 6, the margins are thin. Like, it won't take a lot for them to move up, which is why, again, I think that this the whoever the matchmaker is over at the EFA, putting the Prague Lions up against the Nordic Storm, being able to really pinpoint in on that underdog story, that underdog mentality that the Prague Lions have managed to fight and conquer last season, to put them up against the big dogs in the Nordic Storm, I think is a fantastic start. And I think Radim Kalous is going to play a key part in the success of the Prague Lions as the 2026 season progresses.
Yeah, my comp for him. So 2 things, right? My big thing. The injuries is not the first time Redeem's been out for the year. I believe he was out for the year in 2022 as well when he played for, I want to say, Dresden. So that's a concern. The second season end, well, close to season-ending injury, but he did bounce back from that season and he had a pretty good career afterwards. So potentially he's able to do the same. But he's a bigger dude, 6'1", 200 pounds. He was a CFL global prospect. Ran some good numbers. Not the fastest guy, but still creates separation with a really good route runner. He reminds me a lot of Dragon, and I should actually really say that Dragon reminds me a little bit more of Redeem, because that's more the way that it is. But if you're thinking, if you maybe missed last season or you're new to the year and you've seen Six and Dragon play, it's kind of similar. They're both bigger dudes, possession guys with nice routes and can create separation with their technical ability over their athletic ability. Not that he's a bad athlete, but I think he ran a 4.8 as a 40, so he's definitely not lightning fast. But I like the signing a lot. He's a homegrown as well, so you can't really ever go wrong with that. He's had experience as an E, and I love Radim. I think he's if not for Glenn being Glenn, he would probably be my favorite for comeback player of the year.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with the comeback player of the year. Obviously, well, I imagine we'll get to a point where there's nominees, and I do expect to see Radim Kalous up there. But with just how explosive I think this Prague Lions offense is going to be, I really do think that he's going to be a key part. And yeah, I mean, I said it all. I've got nothing else to say.
My first gem I'm bringing to the table is Kobe Hylton. I've been reviewing some of my American guys. You may have noticed last week when I talked about Mason Chambers. This time I'm talking about Kobe, but the first play rather, into his film, I knew I needed to include him on this. He was actually the inspiration for this segment, Tebbs. So, fun fact. Kobe is a safety from America, of course, playing for the Raiders. Tirol is an A import. And there's one thing the Raiders really know how to do is run the ball. The second thing they do is somehow find really good defensive backs. John Wolves was excellent. Devin Taylor has been excellent. They just know how to find these guys. I think Kobe Hylton is the next great aromatic. Kobe is the next great Raiders safety, in my opinion. He is so fast off that first step. A 1.47 10-yard split, which is a 9.95 on an RAS score, and I believe was the highest of any player that was drafted in the year that he conducted that, which is insane. So he's got one of the quickest steps in the world, not an over-exaggeration. And the kind of talent we're dealing with here, Tebbs, maybe a bit early to say. I don't know if I should even say it. I don't know if I should say it.
Go on.
Should I say it?
Go on.
DPOY potential. DPOY potential.
I mean, like, I feel like you're putting the pressure on Hylton here, and I think looking at the stats, knowing where he's come from, I think he can handle it. I do think this is a great pick. The Raiders, obviously, as you've said, have got that legacy of being able to find these guys, to bring them over, make sure that their defense is at least shored up in a couple of positions. I'm looking forward to seeing how he plays. It's as simple as that, especially when you consider the wide receiver and quarterback talent that we have got in the EFA. It's going to be interesting to see how he goes up against some of those elite receivers.
Yeah, because he's an excellent coverage safety. He's very sticky. He's very aggressive. He's very handsy with players that come into the slot. Honestly, he's one of my favorite safeties I've watched over the last couple of seasons. He reminded me a lot of Christian Tutt, who played a couple of games for the Surge a couple of years ago. When he played for Auburn, went to the Surge for like 2 games. I said he was a DPOY potential, but he got hurt. If Kobe Hylton gets hurt, I might just end it all because that would be 2 in a row, and I don't know if I can handle that because he looks a lot like Christian. So aggressive. I honestly, he screams Raider to me, and I love that. I think he's going to be a really excellent player. Wouldn't be surprised him in DPOY contention. One of my earliest players I'm going to put as a potential All-Pro honor at safety if he can put it all together for the Raiders. My final gem I wanted to talk about, Philip Okonkwo, the Munich Ravens player. Again, we talk a lot about the Munich Ravens, blah, blah, blah. I get it. Comment section down below. Please just keep telling me how much I love the Munich Ravens. It'll be really good for that. But he is, in my opinion, a player that is going to be earning his first All-Star nomination, or not first All-Pro selection as a tight end this season. We are thinner in terms of teams, but some great tight ends are no longer playing in our league. We have Adria for the Frankfurt Galaxy, who you can assume is going to be around the All-Star conversation, given he's done it like 5 times before. Philip, 6'5", 243 pounds, which I think is pretty much identical to the same size as Adria. I think Adria might be 6'6". Adria is my comp for Philip. He had a slow start because, of course, younger guy coming in, you're never going to blow up like immediately unless you're like Justice League. Then has 3 D1 offers during his time when he was trying to go to the States. And some of them would, that's solid, but he chose to stay in Europe. Has a better year last year, starts getting in those moments. Do you remember that game where Munich was down? Like, I know I'd say Munich was down. They were down in like all their games. They still
Yeah.
ended up winning.
Yeah.
He caught the game-winning touchdown for one of those. He is effectively an H-back. That's why his comp is Adra. Neither of them are particularly willing to block as much. I know they both prefer catching the ball, and that
Yeah.
is what Philip is. He's more of a power slot. I know some people call him a power slot or a H-back, whatever you want to call it, receiving tight end or what. Literally, he is that. That's what he is. But he is uber athletic. I think he's more athletic, I think, than Adria pound for pound. He might be one of the most top 2 or 3 most athletic tight ends in Europe right now, I think. He's only young, still in his early 20s. I said he was going to break out last season, and he had a little bit of a mini breakout last season. I think this year we're going to get even more at a potential show now because he got 406 and 5 was his which is good for a tight end. It's not too bad. But this year, I think he goes over 500, and I think he's a lock. A lock for his first ever All-Star appearance. If they do 2 teams, I hope they do first team, second team, All-Pro. If he is, I think he's in.
And so my question back to you is, with the yardage saying over 500, obviously we know about the potent Munich Ravens offense on paper. Does that worry you? I know that it did draw some criticism from a few Munich Ravens players when I was worried, and this is being worried as someone who is very much invested to see how this offense does. That there's talent across the board. Do you think Okonkwo is still going to be getting the love that realistically he deserves from Russell Tabor? Obviously, I know it's completely situational, but we're going hypothetical.
Of course. I actually think it's more likely he gets more love this season. First season, connection was building week by week, and they eventually found their form and started connecting for more important moments. He's now in his second season, and now the quarterback Russell Tabor's had more chance to develop a connection with Philip Okonkwo. Geyer, Seelig, they're newer. They're not maybe going to be his first read when he's under pressure. He's going to be at whereas Philip found Philip, throws a number 0. I think we're going to see him with an increase of catches. I can't remember the amount of catches off the top of my head, but I'll make a little graphic for it in post. I think that he has such high potential. I don't know his combine numbers. I tried to look if he done any formal combine numbers. I don't think he has. If he does some formal combine numbers, I would not be surprised to see a league like the UFL potentially looking around at Philip Okonkwo, potentially, if he can put up good numbers this season and also perform well in some kind of combine.
I mean, again, it's this Munich Ravens offense is so stacked, and he's definitely one of those key parts that makes you raise your eyes and go, this game or this team, wherever the Munich Ravens play, is a must-watch situation. And I've said it all podcast, all stream long. I just can't wait. We're almost in May. May is today. That means that we are within the month of the EFA starting. That means we are within the month of being able to see the Galaxy, the Musketeers, the Ravens, the Raiders, the Lions, and the Storm, and that excites me. But
All on
I'm
YouTube.
not. All on YouTube. And this is it. Is the Munich Ravens for me. Obviously, we're going to watch all the games, but I just can't wait. I just can't wait.
Yeah,
I wish it was today. I wish it was tomorrow. I wish it was every single day. But here we are. I'm really excited to see how Philip Okonkwo does in this, very revamped, ever evolved Munich Ravens offense. And I think that, as it goes, as Titans go, definitely going to be one of the best that we are going to see in the EFA.
And that wraps up today's EFA playbook. Let us know down below what you thought of our gems and our signings and anything else you want us to cover. Really looking forward to just improving this show as we go. Of course, we've got new graphics. I think they look a lot more clean, a lot more efficient. We want to be pushing more of this stuff in. Like we said from the very beginning, this is your show. I've had a lot of messages about how to improve. We have constructed that criticism into the show a lot more. So keep doing that. Thank you. I'll see you next time. Tebbs, will you see them next time?
We will see them next time, and hopefully we may be bringing some more people along on the ride. Interviews are coming soon.
Spoilers. I'll see you soon. No monks today, but
no monks.